This is the plaintiff, Ravi Patel. He says he brought his car to the defendant's shop for an oil change, and his worker stole 2 money orders from inside the car. The worker denied entering his car. The security video shows he lied because he was inside the car 3 times. And he's suing this unscrupulous businessman for the $2,000 he's most certainly owed. This is the defendant, Charles de Alameda. He says the plaintiff has provided no proof to him or the police that he purchased money orders. And there's no way he's handing the guy $2,000 just like that. He thinks the plaintiff's trying to pull some sort of scam on him. Because if he did have money orders stolen, he would go to the post office to have them canceled. Owe him all this money? No way. He's accused of theft.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Leon is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Patel, you're suing the car wash owned by Mr. De Almeida for $2,000, $1,500 of it for stolen money orders by an employee of his, and $500 for pain and suffering. Tell me what happened.
Good afternoon, Judge. So on the morning of August 19th, I stopped by Garfield Avenue, which is Mr. Charles' car wash / oil change. So I happily stopped for a car wash for oil change. So there wasn't nobody on the line, so I was the first one. So I put my vehicle in. As soon as I put my vehicle in, it was 2 employees.
What had you left in the car, Mr. Patel?
Oh, it was 2 money orders. It was a money order.
How much were the money orders for?
$1,500. One was for rent and one was for my child support for my son.
How much was the child support?
$300.
$300. And how much was the rent?
$1,200.
All right. And when had you picked up those money orders?
A day prior to this.
Did you forget they were in the car?
No, I didn't forget they was in the car. I placed them in the car. Normally nobody enters my car.
Right, I know, but now this isn't normally. You're giving your car over to strangers. So did you at that moment, did you just forget they were in there?
I didn't forget they was there.
So then why the heck wouldn't you? Then let me ask you a question. Why wouldn't you pull them out before you gave them the car?
I've been going to Mr. Charles'
I don't care.
place for over 12 years.
How long have you known the person you gave your car to who ended up stealing your money orders?
He hasn't never been there. This is the first time I've seen him.
And here you are, yet leaving. I didn't forget they were in there and leaving the fit. Why don't you just admit that you forgot they were in there? That doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just be honest. Don't tell me you.
No, it's a weird. Your Honor, so I'm sorry to talk over you, but it's the most weird thing. I've been going there for about 10 years, and anytime I get an oil change, I'm inside the car. All right. So this first time I see this video, I see this worker. He tells me to open my hood. I open my hood, and he tells me to get out the car to go wait inside, which I felt weird. That never ever happened.
And that wasn't a clue for you to pick up your $1,500?
I didn't think about it. I took out my son from a car seat.
So then I was right when I said you forgot, right? Because you weren't thinking about it.
Yeah,
you weren't
right.
saying, let me make a calculated guess. This guy I never met before is doing something really weird, asking me to leave, so let me leave $1,500 there on purpose. You didn't do that, right? So you go into the office to wait, and then what happens? When do you realize something's wrong?
I go into the office, I wait. As soon as I waited, the manager hands me the receipt. So once she hands me that, I go back into the car, put my son in the car seat, start the vehicle. I realized the glove compartment was open. The middle glove compartment was open.
Okay.
So as soon as I realized that, I pulled on the side because I was about to merge right to enter the wash side. So I realized it was open. So once I realized it was open, I merged to the side. I looked, I realized I was missing money orders.
So you pull over, you don't even go into the car wash, and then you go inside and do you talk to the manager?
So I go inside, speak to the manager. I tell him, listen, you know what? I'm missing money orders inside my car. I asked her, did you happily see any money orders? He said, I did not go inside the car. I didn't see the money orders. So I'm not gonna accuse anybody of stealing money orders if I haven't seen them. So first thing that rang my mind, I spoke to a manager. I told her, listen, I'm gonna run to the post office, which I did. I went to the post office, spoke to the same lady that made my money orders, and I told her, listen, the 2 money orders I had, like I just ordered a car wash, it was stolen. Is there any way you could cancel the money order? He said, I can't cancel the money order. I can't cancel the money order. I can't track the money order. So first thing I did, like I ran right back to the car
Wait.
wash.
Why couldn't she?
Once they print out a money order, you can't track it or nothing unless you have the money order.
No. The reason she couldn't is that you stapled the receipt and the money order were together. You didn't separate them.
Yes, that was
so
together.
You didn't have numbers to give her. If you could have given her numbers, she could have done something, right?
Yes, you're right.
Right. Okay. So, which emphasizes just how crazy it was to leave these things in there. Let me hear from you, Mr. De Almeida. When do you get involved?
I was not on site when this occurred. I received the phone call. I was actually in Florida, and I spoke with my person in charge, and the police came, and I gave them access to my camera system. I was on FaceTime with them for well over an hour, going through my camera system with them. Because if I have a thief working for me, I don't want them on site.
Well, let me ask you, supposedly the guy who entered his car had told him he didn't enter the car and told the police he didn't enter the car. And what did you see when you looked at the tape?
We did see that he did go in the car. He was not truthful with what he was saying. And I do understand that. I know Mr. Patel, he's been a good customer. But at this point, he could have told me there were $15,000 worth of money.
He could, but he didn't.
Correct. But I don't have any proof whether they were $15, $1,500, or $15,000. So at that point, it becomes an issue of there has to be some kind of a proof. Otherwise, I have an open door for everyone to come in and just say, oh, there was this in my car, there was that in my car.
Yes and no, because do you have some kind of doubt that he's truthful about what he's saying? I think he's sincere. I think he's upset. I think he spotted it right away. He didn't leave the premises. He brought it to the attention of the supervisor. He tried to solve it by going to the post office, and then he came back. He interviewed the guy. The guy says, I was never in your car. Guy tells the police he was never in the car. Turns out he was in the car, wasn't he?
Oh, and I cooperate.
How many times was he in the car?
With Mr. Patel. If my recollection would be 3 times.
3 times he went into Mr. Patel's car. Not only that, we see him on video. According to you, you see him on video leaving your premises.
That's also
in the middle of the workday. Right?
And I am the one that gave you the police report because, as I said, if I have a thief working, I don't want them there.
Did you fire him?
I don't doubt. After, yes.
Well, let's go through it. First, you threatened to fire him, and the guy said, I'm going to sue you, right?
Correct. He threatened me with the labor department, and he told me that his attorney told him that was not grounds for me to fire him because he was not arrested and no evidence was recovered.
Okay, but why would you believe what he's saying? You can fire him for any reason. He's an at-will employee at a car wash.
I
understand. Yeah. So you get scared once he says that, and you tell Mr.
Correct.
Patel. Mr. Patel, what does he tell you? Mr. De Almeida tell you?
So he tells me when he got back, oh, we could solve this. I'll pay you, but I cannot pay you because he's not found guilty for it. So the only way I could pay him, if he's no longer working here and he's found guilty.
That is not
okay,
what
hold on
I
one second. What is it hold on, Mr. De Almeida, what is it that you told him?
Okay, I told him that the fact that he was not arrested and no evidence was found does not leave me grounds to, number 1, fire him, and number 2, pay the money.
Okay, first of all, that's not true. You could pay the money from just a customer service standpoint because you have an employee who's a liar, and then you could fire him because your employee lied, both to the police and to one of your customers saying he was never in the car, and you have him on video going in the car. No one has to nail him to a cross for theft in order to fire him or for you to pay back. That's just nonsense. So you tell him, oh, he's got to get arrested. So now, Mr. Patel, what do? You make a plan to get him arrested, just like Mr. De Almeida asked you to. And what do?
He sends me a text message saying, oh, he'll be here on this Sunday, or he'll be here Thursday. When he gets here at 8 o'clock, I'm going to send you a text message. He's here. And you could call the police because it was already a warrant issued for his arrest. So 8 was like around...
Whatever time it was on Thursday, he texts you, because I've seen the text saying he's here.
He texts me.
You contact the police.
I sent it to you.
There's a showdown at the car wash, and the guy gets arrested, right?
Yep.
And now
Exactly
you,
what happened.
Mr. De Almeida, your hands are clean. You can sit back and relax because you don't have to worry that the guy's going
No,
to
that's
sue you
not
because he
correct.
got arrested. And then you,
No.
Mr. Patel, say,
No.
okay, Mr. De Almeida, I did what you said. Can I have my $1,500? And what does Mr. De Almeida say to you?
He tells me, no, there's nothing I could do. He's not guilty. He's not guilty yet. He's not convicted. So
So
there's
we got to
nothing I
sit
could
around
do.
and wait a few years for him to get convicted.
Yes,
Then we'll talk
exactly.
about
That's
it.
exactly what he told me.
Your,
All right,
Your Honor, I
Mr.
sent you the-
Mr.
I
De
sent you the
Almeida,
text message.
what possible reason could you have to tell the guy that when you know that your employee was up to no good? You know it so much that you made sure your employee got arrested and you didn't want him working for you. If it's good enough for you, why isn't it good enough for me?
I was being told that this had to be solved in this type of situation in a courtroom, that I could not pay him because it would be
Who told you
pleading
that?
guilty
Who are you
for my
asking questions
employee.
of? You're the boss.
The people I speak to, that's what I was being told, and that's what I believe.
Well, that's ridiculous.
And I felt
a lawyer
that-
didn't tell you that.
It was someone that I spoke to. I'm
Yeah,
not
just
certain
people,
he's-
just gossip, just someone. I read it on a bathroom wall. How about if your policy has something to do with decency as opposed to, hey, other people told me? Like in a million years, if I knew that an employee of mine had just lied and had been in the car, what other reason is there for him to be in the car? We both believe Mr. Patel. We don't think Mr. Patel is milking this. He's not some kind of trickster or thief. He's somebody who's been your
never said
customer
as much.
for, I know that, but you're treating him like he is because he tells you, I had this here. And if you believe him, then he had it there. And he tells you it's no longer here. And if you believe him, then it's no longer there. And he tells you, I think your guy did it. And your guy tells you, I was never in that car. And you see with your own eyeballs the videotape of him going into the car thrice. And then in the middle of the workday, leaving your building so that he can go and hide the money. I think it's pretty obvious what we all think. You think it so much that you want to make sure the guy got arrested. So I have to imagine you think it because you don't want some decent law-abiding person to get arrested just for your benefit. So I'm going to go with the assumption that both you and I believe Mr. Patel had $1,500 worth of money orders there and your guy stole it.
I also sent you text messages showing that I was cooperating with Mr. Patel, with the police.
You are cooperating with everybody so long as you don't have to dig into your own pocket. You're
That's
super
not
cooperative and polite, but you don't do the one thing that you should do, which is dig into your own pocket.
Your
It
Honor,
shouldn't
there
be
was
his
no
loss
proof
that you
of
hired
any
somebody
of-
who's a thief and who isn't adequately supervised. You know what? We're done. You don't get pain and suffering in a case like this, Mr. Patel. Let this be a hard lesson learned that you probably shouldn't trust everybody. And you should probably remember when you have $1,500 in the car, and you should probably take it with you. In fact, I do not know why this is so hard for men to do. It's time for y'all to start carrying a purse. Because you lose your licenses, you lose your credit cards, you lose your money, and then everybody's like, oh, it's in my pocket. No, you need to know where your stuff is, okay? So there's no pain and suffering in this type of case. But I am, however, Mr. De Almeida, ordering you to pay him back $1,500 because the standard of proof in a civil case is more likely than not. I don't need to wait till some other judge or jury finds him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's not the standard in a civil case. You owe him the $1,500, verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff is going to get his $1,500 from the car wash owner. Mr. De Almeida, let me ask you something. Number one, what do you think about the judge's decision?
I'm at peace with it.
You are. Why didn't you give me some money back? I mean, he was a good customer, great customer service, don't you think?
The main problem was that there was no proof of how much the money orders actually were, because he could have said any amount. And I'm not accusing him of lying, but I feel there's a burden of proof on his end as well.
Well, hey, they met the burden of proof with the judge. Mr. Patel, congratulations, and I think you've learned a hard lesson, haven't you?
I have. You know what? Normally you will understand people, but then you're nice to people. You say you do what they ask for, but it's for their own benefit. So his benefit was to get the guy fired, so he was suing, which I will never ever go back there. And I'll recommend other people not to even go back there. Thank you.
See, I was just going to ask you if you'd go back. See, he lost a customer. He lost
I'll
a
never go
valuable
back there.
customer, and that's a shame.
So, Doug, this is interesting. This is a civil case, which means all you have to do is prove it's more likely than not that the guy stole the money. If this were a criminal case,
it would probably go differently, because in a criminal case, you have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a very high standard, and I don't think it's been met.
We have property on the river that's right next to the homeowners association property. We've never fenced it, and we've let people use it for fishing, riding, and walking. Can the homeowners association claim it as theirs after years of using it? Can we be held liable if anyone gets hurt on it?
I think homeowners should always be mindful of whether they have, most places require you to fence around a pool, for example. But if you've got people who are accessing your property all the time like that and on a riverbank, there's potential liability. Normally, you're not liable to a trespasser. But if a trespasser was a child and there was a dangerous condition there.
Nuisance there.
Maybe they had a rope swing near the water, or who knows what, a swing set, and the child fell in. Yeah, there could be liability.
I think it's a very bad idea not to fence that. And I know people may think that sounds unneighborly, but when someone gets hurt, they're going to sue your homeowners. Now, as to the adverse possession, that's a concept in the law that says, I've used your property for 20 years, so now, or for X years, so I should be able to keep using your property. But you want to talk about that?
Well, that varies by statute from state to state. Obviously, it would be what you call adverse possession. Sometimes they call it an easement by prescription. It says, that people can come and go on your property because they've always come and gone on your property. And in Florida, I think the rule is 20 years. In other states, it might be less time. But in order to nip it in the bud, just put a little fence there and close it off and make sure everybody stays safe and you don't have those problems.